So I'm a mid-career pastor in my second church as a lead pastor. And no disrespect to how I was trained professionally through our academic institutions, particularly seminary, but I would conclude that I was taught how to run programs and administer the church, and lead the church through preaching and teaching, but mostly administration and programs and volunteer people development type stuff. So, but no real clue about this whole way of being. And so it was a profound adjustment. I thought what I was supposed to do is be successful doing what I was trained to do, teaching, preaching, influencing people. Had no idea about what God was trying to do inside me while I was doing all this. And so this whole idea in my mid-40s was a huge interruption. It was, I felt disoriented and displaced when all of that leadership after 15 years changed pretty quickly and abruptly. Not knowing that God was at work for the long game. God seems to work in seasons that feel like years and decades, not so much days and weeks and months. And so say more about what you think God's doing during that those instructive, those disciplinary times. Rescue me
this way. Well, yeah, it's not going to feel like it. Because look, if you're a young to mid-career pastor, what you're doing is at odds with what God's doing. And you don't realize it.
What do you mean?
And so you're actually wrestling against the Father because He's trying to work in you the character of Christ, the humility, the dependence. He's trying to wean you off of leaning on yourself and your strengths and your freaking giftedness and how great you are and what you're good at.
Natural gifting.
And He's trying to get you to live a life of dependence. And nobody wants that.
So are you saying that like literally what I'm doing is not useful, it doesn't matter?
Watch this. So you think you're here producing and participating in this video series.
I hope I am.
But look, what the Father's doing is He's working in you, man, dependence and neediness and raising your awareness of your neediness and trying to strip you of your confidence in you so you can replace that with confidence in Him. And that is devastating to wwho we are and who we've always been. Why, Nick, you're chuckling. What's going on?
He's laughing at me. No,
because John's the only one.
Right? Just ask Nick. I'm the only one. But I think I've heard you guys say something along these lines before, and it feels like it starts to trip me up. Not because what I need to like puff myself up and that it's nothing to do with that. It's more related to, it's just confusing to hear that message, like what I think I'm doing is at odds with what God is trying to do.
What God knows God's doing.
With what God knows God's doing. And I'm saying that because I feel like I'm following God into this thing that I'm doing. So I don't know how I could be at odds with Him.
And I did as well. So pastoring 15 years, one particular church in Atlanta, and then the invitation came to join this mission organization to minister to pastors and denominational leaders, church planners, and churches. What I failed to see was what Kirk just said, that while I'm doing ministry, God is actually trying to do a deeper work in me while I'm doing. So we talk about the difference between being and doing. My experience, John, was something like this. And the biblical examples, the Mary and Martha, is just clearly Jesus was doing something other than attending to what they were
making the meal,
and getting the house ready and all that. Yeah.
Right.
So he points out there's something other and deeper going on. So my way of saying it is this: God detoxified my spirit from an addiction to doing things for him and inviting others to come along, so he could rewire my heart drive to increase my effectiveness and my influence beyond anything I ever imagined. And I only know that in reflection. In the moment, I'm just feeling whatever I'm feeling, and I'm trying to get done whatever I'm getting done. But meanwhile, God's inviting me to a whole new way of being.
So I think I'm picking it up more. Okay. What you guys are saying is not that what I'm following God into doing is bad or wrong, or it's not the thing.
Yeah.
It's that there's an and.
Yeah.
It's that there's an and that actually God is maybe most concerned with what he's doing in me, rather than not that what he's doing through me doesn't matter to him, not that it's...
Well, look, buddy, what he's doing through you is the context.
The context.
Through which he is making you into a freaking Christian, as I like to say, right? So the video series, right, and the stresses and pressures and the timetables and all that has to happen, the technology and this and that.
Yeah,
that's all context for the big game.
Yeah,
the small game is this video thing. Yeah, the big game, man, is what he's trying to do, and not just you, bro, who are our producer, but in the four of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not we're trying to pull this slick thing off, so you'll be impressed, right? No,
be impressed.
No, it's that somehow, when we finish this first round of filming in December, that we'll be so much more like Jesus than we were today in May.
Wow.
And so it hit me this way: would you guys consider that what you're doing is not inaccurate, but it could be incomplete?
Oh, man.
The Spirit of God just brings us to places where we look back and say, okay, it's not that what I've been doing is wrong. It just is an invitation that there's a whole new and different way